Raccoon City is back, and so is survival horror. And this time, it's worse than ever before. Resident Evil Requiem is real. Capcom just dropped the first teaser of Resident Evil Requiem at Summer Game Fest over the weekend. We were trolled into thinking that it wasn't going to be arriving for quite some time, and during the same presentation, Capcom stunned the world and a teaser was shown off as the show came to a close. This isn't a remake, this isn't DLC, this is Resident Evil 9, and we're going back to where it all began, Raccoon City. What's going on, guys? This is senior producer Albert Perkins here at Insider Gaming, and I had the distinct opportunity to see gameplay of Resident Evil Requiem at Summer Game Fest Playdays, and I must say, it is absolutely terrifying. Let me get into everything I learned about the game straight from the early press previews. Resident Evil Requiem is the official 9th mainline game in the series, and Capcom confirmed that this will be a brand new story that will not be directly tied into the Winter Saga. The game will mark a new era and will kick off the franchise's 30th anniversary. And with that anniversary, it's clear that Capcom was feeling nostalgic. You play as Grace Ashcroft. She's an FBI technical analyst. She's not a cop or a mercenary, but a woman who is pulled into a horrifying case that hits way too close to home as she has to face her past. Grace is tasked to investigate a serial killer who is tied to her late mother, Alyssa Ashcroft, a name which of course RE fans will recognize from Resident Evil Outbreak. That alone hints at a surprising connection to the lore that is Resident Evil. The footage we were shown, though, isn't just Grace reacting. She's also solving things. As she explores, there is a strong emphasis on exploration, deduction, and that absolutely terrifying slow burn horror that feels much more grounded than Resident Evil Village. In fact, some parts even felt reminiscent of PT, the canceled survivor horror game from Hideo Kojima, especially as Grace traversed down the narrow hallways with nothing but a Zippo lighter lighting the way. Each step Grace takes intensifies your stress levels unimaginable and becomes more and more intense as even her breathing quivers in sheer fear and horror as she progresses room to room. Now guys, as I mentioned, we're heading back to Raccoon City, and that name alone in itself should strike an immediate nostalgia for fans of the series. But it's not the same as we remember, as this is the ruined remains of Raccoon City, not a recreation or a hallucination, and Grace is going back to uncover something that Umbrella may have buried and never wanted found. As far as gameplay, just outside of 8 months prior to release, I must say that this game looked extremely polished. Sure, the gameplay was previously recorded and Capcom only showed us what they wanted us to see, but from what I saw in this about 20-minute preview or so that I'd say, it was a game that focused on depth, stealth mechanics, and intelligent, dynamic enemy AI, polished textures and environments, all powered by photorealistic visuals of the RE engine. And you'll be happy to know that if you aren't a fan of playing the game in first person, you can easily switch to third person instantaneously and directly from the pause menu. So, if you're not a fan of first person shooters or just prefer third person or vice versa, you'll have that choice on demand at any given time. But overall, this game encourages exploration, tension, and most importantly, fear. We can expect to see a lot more with Resident Evil Requiem at Gamescom 2025, as Capcom is expected to have a playable demo at that time. We should also expect more gameplay reveals, potentially the one I saw, and more as the embargo lifts today as well, with Grace Ashcroft at the center of the story and rumors of Leon Kennedy possibly making an appearance, which by the way, he was not shown during our closed door reveal, but I'm still holding my breath. Plus a return to Raccoon City, Resident Evil Requiem is shaping up to be one of the boldest entries for the franchise and a true return to survival horror. Resident Evil Requiem is set to release on February 27th, 2026 on the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC. Stay tuned to InsiderGaming.com for in-depth coverage and more in the months ahead. Until then, I'm your host with the most A to the P, Albert Perkins, and we will see you On the inside,